For thousands of years, Western philosophy has been asleep. It's a deep, dogmatic slumber, driven by an obsession with a single, unattainable target: absolute, objective truth. This relentless pursuit has pulled the European mind tight, like a tensely strained bow. To find the architect of this ideological nightmare, we have to look back to antiquity. It was Plato who invented the concepts of pure spirit and the good in itself, ideas that divorced meaning from the physical world and placed it in an imaginary, untouchable realm. That framework didn't stay confined to ancient Athens. It evolved. Christianity took Plato's ideas, packaged them for the masses, and used ecclesiastical pressure to lock the human spirit into this exact same artificial structure for millennia. Friedrich Nietzsche looks at this massive, imposing edifice and poses a surprisingly simple question. Supposing truth is a woman, what then? If that's the case, the clumsy, terrible seriousness of these philosophers has been entirely the wrong way to win her. By insisting on an absolute, unmoving reality, they haven't found enlightenment. They've actually inverted perspective, which is the basic condition of life itself. In their desperation to find a single, objective answer, they've completely blinded humanity to the reality right in front of us. Fast forward to the Enlightenment, and thinkers were still playing the same trick. They claimed to operate on cold, pure, divinely indifferent dialectic. They presented their conclusions as if they were discovered through flawless, unbiased logic. Take Immanuel Kant. He leads his readers through a maze of complex frameworks to arrive at his famous categorical imperative. But look closely, and it's an elaborate smokescreen masking his own pre-existing puritanical prejudices. Benoit Spinoza armored his ethics in mathematical, logical proofs, a defensive masquerade built by a sickly recluse to strike terror into the heart of anyone daring to challenge his invincible wisdom. Nietzsche strips all of this away to reveal a harsh reality. Every great philosophy is at its core an unconscious autobiography. It is a defense of the thinker's deepest personal desires, dressed up as universal law, which means life is not driven by some noble instinct for truth or even a basic drive for self-preservation. A living thing seeks above all to discharge its strength. This is the will to power, the single underlying drive to assert oneself and dominate. This realization forces us out of the realm of abstract philosophical truth and into the everyday world of human behavior. If logic is a mask, what exactly is societal morality hiding? Universally accepted morality is a mechanism of control. It's a herd instinct. When the majority dictates what is good and evil, they construct rules specifically designed to protect the weak by suppressing the exceptional. Out of a profound timidity, society looks at the naturally strong, tropical man, the beast of prey, and panics. The herd demands safety, so it tries to tame greatness, labeling anything fierce or independently powerful as a threat. You see this peak in democratic movements and what Nietzsche calls the modern religion of sympathy. It's an obsessive, almost neurotic compassion that seeks to eliminate all suffering and discomfort from the human experience. But removing suffering removes the very tension required for elevation. This relentless drive for comfort threatens to drag Europe into a new kind of Buddhism, a state of absolute, passive mediocrity. For the free spirit, rejecting herd morality isn't an intellectual exercise, it's a matter of survival. Stepping outside the warmth and safety of the herd comes with a staggering cost. The mind that breaks away faces an immediate, profound psychological peril. He who fights with monsters must take care, lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into you. Looking into that void means accepting a terrifying paradox. You have to realize that untruth, delusion, and false opinions aren't always enemies. In many cases, they are the very conditions that preserve life and keep a species functioning. During this transition, the awakening mind turns brutally inward. It tortures itself with doubt, growing suspicious of its own former enthusiasms, and ruthlessly tearing apart every comforting belief it once held dear. It's a period of agonizing self-laceration and intense isolation. But surviving this trial is the mandatory toll. It is the only way to forge a perspective that truly exists beyond good and evil. So, what does a person look like on the other side of that abyss? The primary characteristic of this new noble soul is an unwavering reverence for itself. It possesses an internal certainty that cannot be taught or taken away. This certainty is born from pain. A profound capacity for suffering permanently separates the noble spirit from the shallow masses. They know they have survived depths that normal society can't even fathom. Because of this chasm, the noble soul is forced into hiding. It wears masks, perhaps a feigned cynicism or a forced superficial gaiety, to protect its deep, incurable heart from the clumsy, officious hands of the herd. The ultimate guide for this disguised spirit is Dionysus. He is the great equivocator, the genius of the heart, who teaches the soul how to become deep, placid, and incredibly dangerous beneath a calm surface. True nobility, then, isn't proven by grand external actions or public works. It is established entirely by that silent, isolated internal certainty of one's own rank. Yet reaching this state brings Nietzsche to a tragic irony. The moment he captures his wild, living, breathing thoughts on paper, they begin to die. Words inevitably fade. They lose their danger and their odor. They harden into dogma, threatening to become the exact same tedious, absolute truths he originally set out to destroy. To escape this trap, we have to leave the heavy, moralizing world entirely behind. We move up into the high, icy peaks where the free spirit finally arrives. This is what Nietzsche calls the midday of life. It is a state of solitary readiness. By unlearning the past and enduring the isolation of the heights, the spirit achieves an intense, vibrant freedom. The noble soul stands here in the high, clear air, a tightly drawn bow, waiting for new friends and the chance to finally aim at the furthest goals.